Of course.
Rob and Chris, they're on the air. Yankees, Mets, they're everywhere. From the Bronx to Queens, the diamond gleams. MLB talk, the ultimate team. MLB is the place to be. Rob and Chris with the pitch you'll see. Swinging stacks and stories fly. Baseball talk that's amplified.
And welcome to a quick reaction show of the Luis Robert trade to the Mets right here on NYMLB Talk. So, Rob, I'm going to send it right to you. What are your thoughts, real quick, on the Luis Robert Jr. trade to the Mets?
You know what? I like it. They didn't give up too much, right? They gave up Acuna, a nice young player, but we don't know what he's going to be. And with that crowded infield, really, they had to start making some moves. And Truman Pauly, which, like we always say, he's not a major leaguer, so it's like a lottery ticket, right? With
That's
these
it.
guys, you never know what you're going to get. So the Mets at least have shown me that they do have a plan, and things are going to be different. Everyone was freaking out, going crazy, and in the past week, look what's done. So I kind of like the trade. Let's see if Robert could go back to his all-star form and start hitting. Hopefully he doesn't get injured, because we know, he's injury prone. And nice glove in the outfield. So they have two nice gloves in center field now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we have to see if Robert's going to hit. If he hits, like he did for the White Sox a couple of years ago, then it's a good deal. What do you think? What are your thoughts about the trade?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it was a gamble worth going for. You gave up practically nothing. You gave up a guy who's not going to be on the team this year, doesn't have a role, right? Acuna.
Right.
At best, he's AAA depth or maybe a pinch runner at this point on the team. So, and Paulie is, I think, a 12th round draft pick. So, I mean, that's a real lottery ticket for sure. So I have no problem with that. And looking at Robert, this guy can give you a 30-30 season, or he could give you a season that he's given you the last 2 years where he's missed 50, 60 games right now. And so that's the kind of guy you're going to get. But to me, I think it's a risk, because it's a risk we're taking for the Mets, because listen, at this point, they don't have a center fielder. I don't consider Tyrone Taylor a starting center fielder that you want out there every day. Yeah, defensively, he's really good, but to me, he's more of a fourth outfielder. So to me, this makes a lot of sense. And like you said, if he stays healthy, you should get a good season out of him.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. But Arma just sent us a message here that Passan said that Bellinger and Yankees agree to a deal, but there's no details yet. So I guess we have to wait for that to come up. But how do you feel? If that's true, Chris, how do you feel right now?
You know what? I love it that we're beyond. We don't have to talk about it now. We've been talking about this move possibly happening for the past 2 months. So, I mean, it made so much sense for him to go back to the Yankees, because the Yankees were giving him that best offer. And, I guess they were waiting to see if another team would come up and top that offer. But obviously it didn't happen. He was looking for 6-7 years. Nobody was giving him that amount. I'm curious what it ends up. I mean, the top offer that we heard was 5 for $160, I think, for Bellinger, with opt-outs after year 2 and year 3, and also a signing bonus, all this stuff. So if that's what it was, then you know what? I'm happy that we got him back. I'd like to see them add another pitcher. The Yankees, just like the Mets. I'd like to, I think the Mets need another pitcher as well.
Definitely.
So, and we're kind of going the same route this offseason here. The Mets and Yankees, right? We both needed an outfielder. We both need a pitcher still. So we'll see. But listen, 2 good moves that we heard about right now.
It looks like Bellinger's deal with the Yankees is for 5 years. Sources tell ESPN. So
okay.
I don't know. I don't have a money number right now. I just have what they say it's possibly for 5 years. So
All right, I
maybe
got it right here. Hold on.
okay.
I'll put it up on the screen.
All right, great. Thanks,
Uh,
Armand,
yes,
for definitely breaking that one for us. We appreciate it.
definitely. So it's basically a 5-year, $162.5 million deal. There are opt-outs after the second and third season, a $20 million signing bonus, and a full no trade clause. So there you go. Basically what they were saying, that's what it was going to be. I don't think that's anything new. But I like that it's done and we can move on and we could say, okay, now what? Like we've been waiting for this deal to happen for 2 months now. So it's good that it's done. And, I think the Yankees I think they're more or less done. Maybe they get another right-handed bat, maybe another pitcher, but more or less they're done. What about the Mets? Do you think they're done or you think there's more moves coming?
No, the Mets are not done. That pitching staff, there's going to be some deals made. All right, they still have. Listen, they didn't give much up. They gave Acuna up, really, basically, right? So
Right.
there's still a lot of pieces they have to make deals with. So no, I definitely do not believe the Mets are done. They need to do something with that starting pitching, and they're going to do it. Now, people could take a deep breath. All right, let's not hear Stearns. Let's fire Stearns. Let's do this. Enough already. All right, let the man make his moves. Let's see what happens, and let's judge him on what the roster looks like on opening day. Right, Chris? I mean that's what you got to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the Mets still have their full farm system, right? Even giving up Acuna, that's not the end of the world. They still got a great farm system, so they could still make, any kind of type of move if they want. If they're waiting for Scooble for his arbitration hearing to finish up, and maybe the Tigers, if they end up losing, which they probably will, maybe they don't want to pay this guy $30-something million, which is crazy to me. That's a deal to have for a guy like Scooble coming off 2 straight Cy Youngs, but yeah, maybe they're waiting on that deal because that they could definitely top almost any team's offer for Scooble if they really wanted to, right? So they're definitely going to be in play for that guy. So they're definitely not done. I'm sure they're still going to be looking for another arm or two for the rotation or even the bullpen.
Yeah, and listen, if Cohen wants Scooble, I think he's going to get him. He could overwhelm the Tigers. Like you said, the Mets probably have the best young players to deal right now. So I'm just going to sit and wait now. Everyone, like I said, now people could calm down. Met fans, Yankee fans, you got Bellinger back. So I don't want to hear any more crying. The Mets didn't steal Bellinger from you. Okay, so you got that going. Right? And I figured once the Mets made this trade, the Robert trade, I thought, well, I don't think they're gonna go after Bellinger. I think they're gonna just make some other moves, Chris.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think they were going to top 5 years, 162. He's not the guy you go in 7-8 years for to top what the Yankees did. The Yankees, I think, the Yankees are paying him probably too much, to be honest, because he's been an inconsistent batter over the last 6 years, right? Since he won the MVP. So I'm happy that they signed him, and you know what? They gave him the the opt out after year 2 and 3. Maybe he opts out. I doubt it, because he'd have to have 2 huge years back to back to even think about opting out at his age, because I think he'll be 32 if he opts out in 2 years, right? Because I think he's turning 30 or he is 30. So, but yeah, I mean, I think the Yankee fans are happy that it's over, but now we're like, okay, now what? Now what? Are we going to get Peralta? Are they going to go in for Peralta now or some other pitcher or another bat? So we'll see.
And while you brought up Peralta, let's talk about this for a second. Milwaukee made an offer to the Mets. They wanted Brandon Sproat or Tong and Jet Williams for Peralta, and the Mets turned him down. I don't blame them. I would turn him down too. That's too much for Peralta. Scooble, yes, that's a whole different story. If that's Detroit, I say yes to that. Either Sproat or Tong. As long as it's not McLean, I say go for it. And Jet Williams, but for Freddie Peralta, no. I say no. What do you feel about that, Chris?
Yeah, I agree because Peralta's a rental. So is Scooble, but Scooble, you know what you're getting. Peralta too is the same thing, and I know it's coming at such a lesser price what you got to pay for him too, but yeah, I don't see Bellinger opting out unless he has 2 monster years. I mean, that's possible. Hitting the next 2 years, it is possible, but I think it would have been more possible if he got the opt out after 1 year, right? Because next year's free agent class is not very strong with the bats, right? So he would go in as probably the best bat available. So if he had a big year this year, yeah, he'd probably opt out, which I think is what Bichette is going to do. If he has a big year, Bichette's probably going to opt out after year 1. You know what I mean? And go into next year as the best bat available, and then who knows who could sign him. But now that Bellinger has the opt out after 2 or 3, that's a little more risky for him. I would think. So, but yeah, I think for Peralta that's probably a little too much. But the Brewers are smart to ask that because you know what, someone's gonna get their asking price eventually because he doesn't cost much. So maybe you'll get one of those, the smaller market teams that are, hey, maybe we're a pitcher away from really pushing to get into the playoffs, and maybe they would do it. Maybe they'll take a chance because it's only $8 million because that's all he's getting paid. And if you trade for him now, right, you could slap the qualifying offer next year. And listen, we don't know what next year is going to look like, right? Next year's off season, right? Because of the lockout, what the new rules are going to be, because I'm sure things are going to change next year. And who knows what it's going to be like? There may not be a qualifying offer for all.
Yeah,
so we don't know. So we'll see. But a 1 year. I think for Peralta, I don't know if that's really worth it. But like you said, for Scooble, yeah, it's worth it, and they probably have to offer more than that as well for Scooble.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, Scooble, that's just if you feel you're that close, you have to go for Scooble. He could put you over the top. The Mets still have work to do before they could say, they're that close. And the Dodgers are in the National League, and that's rough. Pete, who's going to knock the Dodgers? Who's going to stop the Dodgers from winning another pennant and then World Series? It's going to be rough. So we will have to see what happens. Now we had the Hall of Fame announcement last night. Chris, what did you think?
You know what? I think it went the way we thought, right? I think we mentioned Andrew Jones and probably Carlos Beltran are going to be voted in. They both deserve it. Some of these people that are saying, "Oh, it's the Hall of Good now," not because of these guys. These guys deserve to get in. I mean, they're only 2 of what, like 10 center fielders that are in the Hall of Fame now, or 8, or whatever the number is. Yeah, there's some other guys that we talked about that should be in 10, right? Yeah.
Yes.
But obviously, we mentioned a lot. Kenny Lofton should definitely be in it, So I'm totally fine with these guys. I thought they were Hall of Famers. Beltran definitely paid for the cheating scandal with the Astros. And think about it. He paid for it double than more than anybody paid for it on that team, right? I mean, he lost a job with the Mets. He hasn't gotten any offers since then to be a manager. And now he had to wait till his 8th or 9th year, not 8th or 9th year, but
no, 4th year
on the ballot.
This was his 4th year, right?
4th year. Okay. So he had to wait 4 years to get in, and he should have got in first or second ballot for sure. But so he deserves it. So that's pretty good. Well, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and most likely he's going to go in as a Met. He said he wanted to go in as a Met. He probably had his best years with the Mets. I mean, he had he had great years with the Royals also. But he's involved with the Mets now, working in the front office with the Mets. So he's probably going in as a Met. I'm surprised they didn't announce it. We know Jones is going in as a Brave. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Yeah. But I forgot. I used to think that they announced it right there, but whatever it is, it is. And the Mets also, he's going into the Mets Hall of Fame this summer too. So what I was reading, they probably won't retire his number until after they might, I would say why not do it during the Hall of Fame, but the Mets Hall of Fame, but no, because other guys are going in. Mazzilli's going in and Bobby V's going in. So you want to give him a day to himself when you retire his number. So they're going to wait on that. We don't know if it's going to be next season because of the lockout. So that's in question. But no matter what, his number will be retired by the New York Mets eventually. So he deserves it too. Listen, he was a great center fielder. It's a shame that a lot of Met fans, not all of them, just remember him for that strikeout. Okay, listen, that strikeout, I was there. That was a long drive home that night. It was one of the longest drives I ever had home after a game. But you cannot, you can't judge his whole career by that one at bat. It happened. It's over. Yeah, that was a great team. 2006, that team should have, they should have went to the World Series, but it didn't happen. And listen, it's happened to many great teams where, they lose because of something. So that's just how I feel about it. I'm happy that he's going to be the third Met in the Hall of Fame, representing the Mets in the Hall of Fame. So, I'm happy about it.
Yeah, he definitely deserves it for sure. Listen, no matter how long your drive was home and every other fan's drive home was that night, it was much longer for Carlos Beltran because he was the guy that was standing there with his bat on his shoulder, right? On the whole third strike. So exactly. But this is New York, right? What are we talking about with Judge, right? Oh, if he doesn't win a World Series, he can't be compared to any of those Yankee greats. And I agree. But you know what? He's still a Hall of Famer, and he still deserves what he's going to get at the end of his career, right? No matter what he does going forward, for the rest of his career. So, but yeah, definitely well deserved in every sense of the word for Beltran.
And Chris, I just wanted to ask you something now that we're getting into a few things. We have a couple more minutes we've talked about. Anthony Volpe. What do you think? What do you think should happen with Volpe?
I think, listen, he has to, I think, prove first off to the team that he's fully healthy and fully back. He's got to work himself back into shape and all that in the minors, right? Because I don't think he's going to be ready for opening day. He's got to prove it once again, right? That he can play the position. He has to make up for what he has to prove that last year was, hey, listen, I might have said that it didn't bother me, but the injury affected him last year and his play, whether it was defensively and offensively. So he's got a lot to prove, I think, in the minors, coming, in his rehab process and everything, that he is fully back. You can't just bring him up and send someone down. You know what I mean? This can't be, okay, you're the starter as soon as you come back. Like, you got to prove yourself right now as a player. I mean, you're going into season 4 of his career. He's got to prove something here because last year was a disaster, and that's being nice, right? So, so he's got a lot to prove in my mind. So we'll see. I'm not closing the book on him, like some fans are. They're like, oh, we got to trade this guy. No, give him a chance to prove himself, and let's see what he's got.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. And one other question. Do the Yankees have enough to give up to get a Freddie Peralta since, it won't cost too much money-wise? What are your thoughts on that?
I think they have enough. It's just a matter of number one, what do the Brewers want from the Yankees and what the Yankees are willing to give up for them. I think they have enough. It's just a matter of can they come to an agreement that both sides are okay with. The thing with the Yankees is that they're going into the mentality into this trade or any trade is they don't need a starting pitcher, right? Like, it would be nice to add another one, kind of protect themselves a little bit with the guys coming back from injury and everything we've talked about with the pitching. And you never have enough pitching. We always say that. So the Yankees aren't like being forced into making these trades. So they're sitting back and waiting for an offer that's okay with their side as well. Like, they're not going to push into a trade. It's like, oh man, we don't want to give up this guy, or whatever. So I think that's the situation they're in. So they're not going to, give up, somebody that they don't want to give up for Peralta. But
yeah,
do they want him? Of course. You'd be crazy not to say that. But they also are not going to go above and beyond to go get him. At least I don't think so. At least that's what, from my understanding.
I don't think so either. All right, and Chris, you want to tell everybody what we're doing tonight? What show we're going to be on, and when they could hear this?
Yeah, we're going to be recording with Romantic About Baseball. It's a great Facebook group. I mentioned it, I think, on the last show. It's a great baseball group. If you're a baseball fan, if you're on Facebook, check them out. And they do a podcast as well. Check out their podcast wherever you get your podcast. They're also on YouTube, so check them out there. Hit the sub button for them, as well as us if you haven't yet on YouTube. But yeah, we're going to be talking baseball there. We're going to be talking about the offseason. We're going to be talking about possible work stoppage next year and all that, and all baseball issues. So it's going to be a great discussion. We've got a great bunch of guys that are going to be joining us, or we're going to be joining them, actually. So it should be fun. Check us out. Look for it tomorrow. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it tonight.
All right. Well, it sounds good. And, I'm glad that we popped on for this, Chris. We had a pretty decent amount of people out there watching us.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it was great because, the Bellinger news broke.
Yeah.
We got the Luis Robert trade in, the Hall of Fame talk, and we got to tell you guys about our show coming up with the Romantic About Baseball podcast. So definitely check them out, like I said. And we'll be back Friday night, right?
Yeah, we'll be back Friday night with former Mets pitcher Pete Falcone. That's going to be a really good show. We got a lot of stuff we want to talk to him about. He has an upcoming book that we're going to talk about his career, and we have some other questions for Pete. So that's Friday night at 9 p.m. Former Mets pitcher Pete Falcone, there he is, will be on the show. So that should be good. We hope you're out there. We'd love, you guys to ask him some questions, and we'll see everybody on Friday night at 9 p.m.